Hello, and welcome to our Staff Qualifications webinar for primary contacts. If you are a Center Director, Center Assistant Director, Center Program Supervisor, family homeowner, or another primary contact whose role is to manage facility site or staff details and merit for your program, you are in the right place. Today I am going to provide an introduction to staff qualifications and merit. My name is Susie Campbell, and I am the Staff Qualifications Coordinator for the Workforce Growth and Quality Recognition Team with the Early Learning Division of DCYF. The purpose of the webinars are to provide support for those working in early learning education and care workforce around merit, staff qualifications, and any other professional development needs. Staff qualifications webinars for primary contacts will be provided on a quarterly basis. In May, we will present information about the substitute pool with the Imagine Institute. If you have specific requests for topics, please send me, Susie Campbell, an email at suzannampbell@dcyf.wa.gov. Today, we are going to look at merit and staff qualifications for your employees. We will review the merit dashboard and the steps to support staff in meeting their job role requirements. The Washington Administrative Code, or WAC, and DCYF use the label provider to include anyone providing services to children and families, such as staff, employee, teacher, center director, etc. When you see the term provider on DCYF web pages, that includes all individuals who are part of the early learning professionals in Washington State. Let's get started. To review your facility site and employee information, you will need to sign into your Merit account. By selecting the Facility Site tab at the top of your Merit account, it will open access to all the staff working at your site. If you are a new primary contact or are the individual who will be managing the facility site and do not see this option, please submit the facility site registration application in Merit. If you have questions or need assistance in submitting this application, send an email to merit@dcyf.wa.gov. After you click on the Facility Site tab, you will see the Facility Site Details display. This page will show you everything about your current facility, such as licensed capacity and your licensor's contact information. There are two ways to access each licensed provider or staff's individual professional record. If you have volunteers or other job roles, they will only show up on the Employees Information tab and not under licensed job roles. If you are looking to do a quick dashboard review, you will need to select the Licensed Job Roles tab. We will review dashboards in later slides. When you are accessing a provider's information through the Employee Information tab, you will see a quick overview of the options, including STARS ID, name, age, job title, work duration, health and safety trainings, portable background check, etc. The Employee Information overview includes all the staff who work and volunteer at this facility. The Licensed Job Roles tab gives an overview of providers in a licensed job role that includes hiring education, childcare basics completion, and job role education status. When you click on the provider's STARS ID number, Merit will take you to the individual's professional record. When looking at the provider's professional record, the main areas to review are their personal data, including the individual's email. It is important this is current so the individual receives communication about their account and qualifications. The portable background check, education profile, the completed health and safety information, employment information, and state-approved training history. Under the education profile, you will see the label Diplomas, Degrees, Colleges Attended. To the right, you will see credits and verification status. This is where the number of ECE or ECE school age credits are reviewed to determine if someone has the education for their job role. Some things to point out under diplomas, degrees, colleges attended. If you look under credits, you will see 4 different categories: ECE, school age, ECE school age, and NA. For early learning and transcripts, staff qualifications, the credits that are considered for job role education are the ECE and ECE school age. For school age providers, we consider credits under all 4 categories. Next, look at verification status. If it says final approved, that means Merit has received the documents and verified the credits. Other options you might see will be awaiting documents and in process. This may mean that the provider has not submitted transcripts or they are still in process of being reviewed. If the documents are not received by Merit within 90 days, the application will be withdrawn. The next section is college coursework for in-service only. All credits listed here are only for in-service hours and will not be considered in determining job role education requirements. The last section is certificates and credentials. You may see the different certificates that providers have included, but are not limited to: Washington State ECE Initial Certificate, Washington State ECE Short Certificate, Washington State ECE State Certificate, Montessori Certificate, etc. You will want to look under verification status to determine if Merit is still waiting for documents or if they have been reviewed, if Merit hasn't received the documents or a provider withdrew from the verification. Health and safety information includes training type, tuberculosis or TB test, first aid and CPR, bloodborne pathogens, and if applicable, food handler permit and safe sleep. Double check that the trainings are completed by reviewing the expiration date if applicable. If a training is expired, double check down the list. The most recent trainings are listed at the bottom. The status will be self-entered until it is confirmed by the employer, i.e. the center director. As you move down the page, you will see state-approved training history. This is where you will find childcare basics completion, as well as annual continuing education trainings. Some things to note: childcare basics can be the previously offered 20 hours or the current 30 hours, or they may have an exemption of needing it through a college course. If there is no record or no recorded childcare basics, or the provider has only completed the COVID alternative, they will need to enroll in the earliest childcare basics opportunity, as they cannot work unsupervised with children until completed, per the WAC 110-300-106. You can also review any in-service trainings an individual has completed by changing the training year under annual continuing education training. To the right of each training is the number of in-service hours the individual provider has received for the training. If you notice an employee listed that no longer works at your facility, you will want to identify the employee and scroll to the right of your Employees Information tab until you see the status column, then click on the blue edit icon. A pop-up window will display the employee's information, such as job title, start date, etc. This is where you will add the employment end date and select Save. Once you have selected Save, you will no longer have access to this employee's information. Now let's look at a provider's dashboard. Under the License Job Roles tab, you will see a blue icon to access the individual's dashboard. This is a read-only view. Only the individual can make changes that will update their dashboard. The dashboard provides a quick view of staff qualification status. Currently, it is only available for those working in a licensed family home and licensed child care center role who have staff qualification requirements. Some individuals have two job roles listed in merit. The dashboard is always going to show the highest job role the individual holds, and the dashboard status updates nightly. What do the colors on the dashboard mean? Green means the requirement is met. For this example, the provider has met the age requirement and their pre-service requirements for their job role. Yellow means the requirement is unmet or in progress and within the allowed time for completion. Here we see the hiring education and job role education are in progress. Red means the requirement is unmet and out of compliance. This provider has at least one training that is expired or has not been entered into merit. Gray means the requirement does not apply to this job role. Back to the facility site landing page. Using the qualification type drop-down menu, you can select all the providers at that site who, for example, have not met their hiring education or need to update their CPR first aid. This can be helpful when doing a quick check to see if providers need to attend an upcoming health and safety training. A quick way to view staff qualifications is by looking at the columns on the licensed job roles landing page. The main staff qualification columns include the qualification status, hiring education, health and safety columns, and job role education status. Qualification status is a combined overview of all the categories in the dashboard. For most providers, this will be in progress. As a reminder, MET means that all requirements are complete. Where it says in progress, that means that one or more requirements have not been met and are still within the allowed time. If you see unmet, then at least one requirement has not been met and is out of compliance. This one needs to be attended to right away. Only center directors, center assistant directors, center program supervisors have the option to meet their hiring education requirement through another user in one of those same roles. They will still need to meet their full job role education within 5 years from date of hire or promotion. If the person who does meet the requirement leaves for any reason, there needs to be someone else in one of the roles that meets the hiring requirement, or the person hired will need to meet the requirement. This is why it is imperative that any changes in management be communicated to the assigned licensor as soon as possible. For hiring education, MET means the individual meets through a credential named in WAC or equivalent. For in progress, all roles are currently listed as in progress if unmet. Action required is identifying that the requirement is unmet and the individual is in a role where they need to select if requirement is met via another user. Reported met via another user, the user self-reported another staff meets the hiring requirement. Only center directors, assistant directors, and program supervisors have the option to meet their hiring requirement through another staff member in one of the qualifying roles. Remember, meeting the hiring education through another user does not mean the job role education is met. The provider will still have 5 years from date of hire or promotion to meet their job role education, which is the state certificate or equivalent. Experience is only required for center directors, assistant directors, and center program supervisors as per WAC 110, 300, 100. Center directors and center assistant directors are required to have at least 2 years experience as a teacher of children 0 to 5 years old and at least 6 months of experience in administration or management. Center program supervisors are required to have at least 2 years experience as a teacher of children 0 to 5 years old. All other roles will have NA listed under experience. Things to remember. Experience is calculated nightly based on employment information recorded in merit. A user may self-report on their dashboard that experience is met or they have a plan in place with their employer. If experience is self-reported, the status updates to met. If a training expires, the date of expiration will be listed. Otherwise, it will list the date of training was completed. The title, Initial Training Requirement, refers to the childcare basics training. Safe Sleep will only display if the site is licensed for infants, and individuals can indicate if they do not handle food by updating their dashboard. When childcare basics is met, it will reflect the annual continuing education training for that year. Ongoing annual in-service training will be required after 12 months cumulative employment. For this example, the individual began employment on 8/5/2024, and they completed their childcare basics in 2024. Their annual and continuing education training for 2024 is met by the childcare basics completion. All individuals who do not currently meet their job role education need to update their merit account to reflect the pathway they will use to meet their job role education. Once they have selected the pathway, their job role status will reflect in progress. If you see action required, that individual must go into their merit account and select the pathway they plan to follow to meet their job role education. Pathways may include, I have education to submit. I would like to go to college in the next 5 years. I am interested in PACE, the community-based training, along with other available options to that specific job role. For individuals who need to select the pathway they intend to follow to meet their job role education, they will need to log into their Merit account, access their dashboard, and select the job role education drop-down menu and select the blue Click Here option. When DCYF runs reports around pathways, it helps to inform both DCYF and contractors to the projected number of needed trainings, options, and ways to support providers with next steps. Incorrect numbers may result in not having enough trainings available. Once the provider clicks on the blue button, they will see a job role education pop-up window that lets them select which option they intend to follow to meet their requirements. For this individual, they can select from the following. I have education to submit. I already have a degree that is not in ECE. I would like to go to college within 5 years. I am interested in PACE, the community-based training. I am unsure and am exploring my options, or I plan to leave the field in the next 5 years or less. Regardless of which selection they choose, they still must meet their job role education within 5 years from the date of hire or promotion. Only those in the job roles of licensed family home owners, family or center lead teachers, and family or center assistant teachers will see these options. I want to use my experience in training, or I am interested in PACE, the community-based training. The option to use experience is only available to those providers who will meet their required 7 years of employment recorded in merit in one of the eligible job roles by August 1st, 2026. The experience and PACE options are not available to meet staff qualifications for the Early Childhood Education and Assistance Program, or ECAP, nor for Early Achievers Professional Development Points. PACE, the provider access to a community equivalent, is available to providers whose job role requires an initial or short certificate. This includes family home licensees, family home owners, lead and assistant teachers. PACE will not meet the job role education requirements for ECAP providers, nor for Early Achievers Professional Development Points. PACE is the non-credit bearing community-based training pathway for licensed childcare providers to meet educational requirements as required in House Bill 2556. What's included in PACE? PACE gives you a jump start by building from your required training for licensing qualifications. Childcare basics and enhancing quality of early learning or equal, and your work hours. The completion of PACE 1 and 2 is equivalent to the initial certificate. PACE 3 and 4 are the equivalent to completing the short certificate. DCYF is working with the Washington State Board for Community and Technical Colleges to identify a pathway that builds from PACE completion into a certificate or degree program. PACE modules 3 and 4 are coming soon for the short certificate. From the date of hire, Childcare Basics is completed within the first 90 days. The following year, Equal 1 will meet the in-service training requirement. The next year, Equal 2 will meet those in-service training requirement. Then the next year will be PACE 1, and the final year will be PACE 2, completing the initial certificate within 5 years of hire. If you have additional questions after this webinar, please feel free to reach out to the Merit Navigation System Navigation team at merit@dcyf.wa.gov, or you can email me directly at suzanna.campbell@dcyf.wa.gov. Thank you for your time.